Hi, my name is Theodore Cottingham, a Christian long ago, but not one now. A follower of Christ for decades, most of my life, but no longer. A man that has said the phrase, Jesus, I love you, thousands, literally thousands of times. But I have come to know a different story. And one that I am sensitive to the fact that I am speaking of something very, very special to so many of you, that you have so intentionally been tender, loving, in trying to serve your God. Many people have many definitions for God. But I stand here opposing. I stand here with a different message than the message that I lived most of my life. I'm 73 now. My name is Theodore Cottingham. I live in Eureka, Springs, Arkansas. I drink coffee, and I love you. And I have learned to love. My friend, I began channeling in this city, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 21 years ago. I have channeled many messages where I have not edited them at all. I have not replaced words. I have not tried to make them understandable. I have flowed the living new covenant. The new covenant that is for all people, all races, everywhere among the cosmos. For I learned, not restricted to earth, am I? No, neither are you. And the God story that we have so listened to and devoted ourselves to, so many of us on this earth for so long, is one that simply keeps us here. You see, we have loved God. We've been taught and we thought God was love. But it is not so. God is a system of control. God is not love. Love is who many of us thought we were serving, praying to, coming into the presence of, beginning to know, sense the presence of, feel, write the words of. And sometimes that was so. But you see, there's much to learn because there's so much more to the story. You see, when you want to know more, you can find it. But you're not going to find it in Christianity because it is the worst. I know. I was in it. I was immersed in it. I taught it. I studied it. I lived it. And I understand. And I spent many, many hours in prayer to God, to a God, to a power, to a supreme force. And I became a professional beggar, begging God to heal my children, bless my children, my family, intervene in the earth. A lot of us have been there, and a lot of us are there. But I tell you, there's more to the story. And it's essential, it is imperative for us to go inside. If you want the truth, close your eyes. Humble yourself as a little child. Sever all distractions. And speak to love directly within you. Address love as love. Maybe give love a new name. Let's give love a new name. What we thought was God, but if we omit the system of control, if we omit the commandments, by the commandments, you shall have no other God before you. So it establishes it as the supremacy of your life. And remember now, study to show yourself approved, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, my friend. You see, because God, see the way it's taught, God is always watching you. God even knows what you're thinking. Think a bad thought. Another bad thought. Oh, you've been a bad kid. You're not. No presents for you this Christmas. And our Santa Claus God, our understanding of God and love has become so profuse, so entangled, that so many preachers openly preach. To serve their church is to serve God. To serve their church. To tithe is to please God. Will a man rob God? Oh. Do you think that's the heart of John 14:12? Do you? John 14:12. A humble man said, if you believe in me, do the things that I do. Heal the people. Raise the dead. Open the eyes of the blind. You can do what I do. That's John 14:12. That's the heart, not of Christianity. Christianity wants you to worship it, wants you to worship him, a male figure that gives credence to their patriarchy. My friend, patriarchy sucks. Patriarchy stinks. Patriarchy commands you to become putrid in your own stagnancy because it silences your voice. Everything about religion, God, everything about God, the way it's taught, it's not love, it's not freedom. It's empowerment of the system to keep you silent, to keep you listening to the words of those who espouse, who have married that message and given their lives to that message, just like I did for many years. But I began to channel. I began to learn love. Is very different than the God message. And who am I? I'm a simple guy, 73. I live in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. I walk the streets. I'm a common, ordinary guy. But I know what love is. You know what love is? Love. Love is, I am saying to you, I am all of you who will be me. You see, this concept of serving me is of the devil. I suggest to you there is no devil. There's only the concept and the construction of a concept that separates you from who you really are. So if you think you're separate, you create that separation and you sustain it, you maintain it. You feed the separation every Sunday morning. You feed the separation with your TV and all the worship music and our devotion to God, to be separate, to honor God, because of course I didn't make this world. I have no power. I'm a little powerless. You know, I sit on a pew and do what I'm told, right? Conformity. Silence your voice. Is that it? Do you want your voice silenced? I think you're pretty creative. And honestly, I think you're pretty damn good looking. I like you. Why do I like you? Like you? I love you. I'm not making fun. Of anyone who is still immersed in the God system, the system of worship, the system of God creation to worship it. Creating your separation to worship it. Being diligent to rightly divide the word of truth. Study to show yourself approved. Reading commentary after Christian author after Christian author. God. Studying Israel, studying the land of Israel, studying the people of Israel, studying the promised land, studying the archaeology of the earth. The soon coming king. Sit. Don't make waves. Don't you understand that? I do. And I stand against it. But I don't fight it. I'm not fighting you. I'm not fighting Christianity. I'm not fighting God. I know what love is. And love is in, you can find the love story, or you can find a lot about it, even within the Bible. But mostly the Bible enshrouds you in separation. Without love clarifying and correcting your understanding, I suggest you'll miss the story of love, the true nature of love. I remember, even in Christianity, I wondered many times, why would God want a relationship with me? If God made me, is that like the movie Pinocchio? You carve a wooden doll out of clay, breathe into it to have a son. It's a great movie. It's a great allegory, but there's so much more to the story. And my message is, if you are willing to see the story, if you are willing to know the story, the cost is great. You don't begin to know the story by saying a sinner's prayer. That's laughable. That's preposterous, ludicrous. Say a little prayer and somebody tell you, oh, now you're a new creation. Oh, here's your membership card. Come sit in the pew next Sunday, and oh, by the way, 10%. God is a system of control to keep you silent, to keep you in the operation of the church. How did Christianity form? You don't need to go back, but you can go back and you can find it. The very roots of it are in control. Christianity is not based on the words in red. Religion didn't want Jesus to teach in their building. When he began to speak from within, the Bible says the religious wanted to take him to the edge of the city and throw him off a cliff. Silence that voice forever. Silence that man. Silence that message. I ask you to wake up to a new message, to come alive to a new message. I'm asking you to see another story. Because when you begin to see love, if you want to understand the story, you, my friend, become it. You become it. There's no other way. There are not multiple paths. Well, there may be multiple paths to God, but God is a control system. But freedom is not love, but there is perfect freedom in perfect love. And in perfect love, there's no fear. There's no fear of, you had a bad thought. You imagined her naked. You wanted to do what? You did what? Hell. Eternal punishment, damnation. What a joke. No, it's not a joke. It's controlled humans for eons. And I'm asking you to come out of the system of control. Or at least consider it. Invite love to teach you directly from within you. Your heart, your mind, your consciousness, no longer holding your consciousness separate from the God consciousness that we thought it was God, we thought it was love. But let's differentiate now. We need to understand, grow up, and not be like a newborn that doesn't know the father from the mother. I channel. I don't know another word for it. For years, I said, I began to experience writing the first person words of God. That's what I thought I was doing. That was the nomenclature. That was the vernacular. That was my terminology. That was my world. So as I began to experience the more, where I began to experience an energy stream, and I would begin to write. Day after day, multiple page messages that I did not edit. I began to learn because I wanted to learn. I desired to learn. Back then, I called it, I wanted to know Jesus and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, and I prayed that way many times. And I began to pray for correction. I began to pray for correction. I would pray, God, teach me. God, correct me. God, discipline me. Discipline me. God, judge me. But I tell you what, the first time I ever prayed that, let me tell you, I was afraid of it. After the first time I prayed, God, judge me. My next thought, I'm still breathing. All of that is fear-based. When you meet love, when you begin to understand the operation of love, and you encounter the consciousness of unconditional love, not this conditional love. If you call God as love, God is conditional love, conditioned on whether you do all these things, all that setup. Whether you keep silent in the church, wear your hair in a bun, wear long dresses, or do this, that, or the other, whatever man may want you to do and say it's God. That's a system of conditional love. I'm not motivated by conditional love anymore. And I ask you not to be motivated by conditional love anymore. Love that says, come live with me. Do all the housework, do all the cooking, and I will love you. Mow the grass, make a living for me, and I will love you. Sleep with you occasionally. What the heck? Isn't there more to life? There's more to love. The story is so much bigger than any religion has ever restricted us to. Because the main point of religion is to keep us from knowing who we are. To keep our voice silent. Our voice, not just only the mouth of our flesh, but to silence the voice within. The voice of pure, unconditional love. That which in ignorance we often called God, but are now separating it. Pure, unconditional love. And it doesn't matter whether you call it Ralph, Oscar, Betty, Sue. It doesn't matter. What matters is the heart of your consciousness. The motive of your inner sanctum. Your temple not made with hands. And my friend, I'm inviting you to walk into your temple not made with hands without fear. and without arrogance and without ignorance. Because love will teach you. You are the one. The chosen people. So they gave it a name in the Old Testament. They gave it a name. People give it a name. The chosen people. Oh, the chosen people were. And they give it a name. I'll tell you who the chosen people are. The chosen people is a term, a metaphor for people who become humble enough, desperate enough, willing to come as a little child to learn from within who they really are. And if you do this, you choose you. And I'm asking you to choose you. I'm asking you to choose you to be the chosen one. The most lovely of all in your mirror. To no longer loathe your body. To no longer lust after another body. We are not limited to this space, nor this time, nor this planet. I am this message. And the message is out the box, Jack. And nobody's going to put the message back in the box. I'm out. And let me tell you, show you, should I mention, address, consider the future, what's coming? I suggest to you, this message, my message, is going all over the world now. And many churches will empty because people are going to learn to choose not the truth that has been fed to them to keep you dumbed down, ignorant, living for God, suffering for God, praying to God, begging to God, giving. To somebody else to teach you to be ignorant, to teach you to wait. Don't make waves be under their authority. I'm asking you. To pick up the robe of your authority. You see, there is no fear in perfect love. But remember, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. The vengeance, the wrath of the living God. God. But love is different. Very different. I mentioned so often the prodigal son, the story, when the son returned. That dad that met that returning prodigal son, obviously to me, in light of what I'm sharing with you, was not a godly man. He didn't stand there with a list, a checklist. Well, let's see. What did you do with your inheritance, son? You went, you played the whoremonger, you slept with all these people, you defrauded these people, you lied, you cheated, you stole. Get out of my presence. You're banished to hell for eternity. That's the God heart. That's the God message that I'm contrasting with love. But unconditional love, that dad that met that prodigal son returning, that's unconditional love. He was looking to see that son come up from afar to recognize he was waiting, he was loving, he was there. He was making an effort. He was alert. It was a priority of him to see, to express his love. And when the son returned, what did he do? He ran to him and kissed him. Love that is unconditional love must be separated in our mind forevermore between love that is conditional and the whole God set up story, the whole framework of serving God to silence your mouth and to keep you under the threat of eternal condemnation. Threat. To serve a patriarchy, a patriarchal God, a system that uses you and your money and your influence for their perpetuation. So somebody can stand up with a collar and a robe and a ring, strut across their stage, give you a wafer, a cracker, and say, "Oh, I forgive your sin." I stand in the gap. My name is Theodore Cottingham. I'm responsible for this message and I make no amends for it, nor any of my writings or recordings. And I love you and I bow before you. And I ask for you to consider these things that I have said, that I have shared. I invite you to record it. Play the YouTube video and record it. Put it in your car on a YouTube stick. Play it in the car. Write it. Transcribe it. If you want the message, if you want what I'm offering you, eat the message. Eat the message. Eat these words. You eat. You literally eat. You consume. You don't chew these words and swallow them. You eat them in a manner where you take them into you and consider them. I've never asked you just to take my word carte blanche without doing your due diligence. Consider these things. That's why so often, in such respect, I so often say, I invite you, I suggest, what if? Because it's up to you. It's up to you, my friend. It's up to you, my daughter, my son, my lover, my friend, my fellow human, my fellow angel, fellow lover. Be a lover. Be a lover. And the generation of lovers is coming about now because you who will, begin to experience a new birth, unlike anything you've ever been taught about. A new birth, a new consciousness, a new mind, no longer with the foolishness of trying to save your soul. Don't try to save your soul, your chakra system, your energetic system, your system of molecules. Soul, what does it look like? What does it do? I suggest the mission of the soul is to separate you from who you really are. You see, if you think you're separate, I don't know that you can walk on water, raise Lazarus, heal the blind, feed the 5,000, calm the storm. You see, this, my friend, this place, this space, this planet, and what we experience in it was never, ever the heart of unconditional love. The whole idea of this magnetic world and us in it, to control it, control the species, was our idea. We fabricated this place. We spoke it into existence. We were of the cosmos. We were unlimited. We weren't even limited to one universe. We loved each other. And it was not all democratic. There was no capitalism. It was unconditional love. And if I created something lovely and you wanted to learn how I did it, or you wanted it, I gave it to you. That's unconditional love. Because unconditional love is not finite. Unconditional love is infinite. And the more you see it, the more you become it, the more you become it. The more you flow it naturally by your speech. Because it's who you become. You're no longer living in fear. Fear of torment. Fear of somebody's looks. Fear of a comment. Someone that wants to spit in your face or shame you with their words. They no longer control you. I'm asking you to no longer be under control or in a system of control. I am leadership in action. And I lead you out of where you have been. If you want me to. If you become my word, not just a listener, not just an adherer to my principles. You become who I am, my mind, my consciousness, the power, unlimited. If you're talking about the power of unconditional love. There's so much more to the story. I invite you to find out, to find in you the source of you. You created you in this mess, and you can create you out of it. I created me in this mess, and I'm creating me out of it. And we are a race of lovers, creators, connectors, not a generation of vipers anymore who want to heal the earth for the next generation or calm the storm so it doesn't mess up our TV reception. We begin to see the real us is all of us. who were us. One mind, one consciousness. One being of many, with unique patterns of light that operated with unconditional love with each other before time began, before this planet existed, before there was a God concept, a concept of a deity separate from us that had special power that we didn't. This, my friend, is all known through the everlasting, eternal, royal, regal new covenant. The covenant that supersedes, transcends all other covenants. It's the covenant promise. I am here. I am you. I've never been separate. So whether you love me or not, I love you still. Spit in my face, I still love you. No, I will not bow before you or your gods, but my love is existent. And my love creates worlds. My love creates consciousness, because I am not conditional. I love you no matter what you look like, no matter what you've done, no matter what hell you've been through or put others through. If you're willing to come to love, to be unconditional love in your shoes, my friend, let's walk a new life, creating it in the power of one. Okay, see you later. I love you. Don't live. Don't live. Don't settle. Don't live your life vicariously through the words of another person, through the words of a book, even through the words that we thought, you thought, I thought. God gave us. When you want to know unconditional love, begin picking up your pen. Go to my website, TheodoreCottingham.com. There's a link, the Meonics Covenant. Why Meonics? That's the name I was given. I channeled it. I'd never known that word before. Because over and over and over and over in my channeling, Unconditional Love said, be me. Be who I am. And many, many times I wrote, you are, I am. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't understand it, but I did not edit it. I didn't change it. My friend, you are, I am. I am is a race of unique lovers who operate with a different MO, a different operating system. It's not DOS any longer. It's cold out here. I love you, and I ask you to love. Love each other. Love you first. Forgive you of everything you've done and not done. See a new day. See a new energy. Feel a new life by creating it, not just promoting the vision of someone else's life for someone else. No longer trying to please your wife. No longer striving to please your husband. No longer giving your life to a message of God, who very well, on a whim, may banish you to a concrete structure, a cellar, a dungeon, the concept of hell. I ask you to give up your eyes of faith and your concept of God and begin to differentiate it and see a new love, a new lover, a lover who loves you. I mean, loves you intently, deeply, unrestrained, unreservedly, adores you, no matter what you do or you don't do, because it's not based on what you do. It's because of who you are. It's who you are. And now we are understanding who we are. And our flesh is going to fall off at some point. I'm not willingly pulling my body into a casket. So I don't know how you're going to resurrect, or if we resurrect the way we think we are. But let me tell you, resurrection happens first within your mortal mind, not but your light mind. The mind that you no longer separate upstairs, downstairs. You no longer consider God a male. You no longer submit to a patriarchy. You know what misogynistic is. And you no longer submit to it or perpetuate it. Love people. Love each other. Love your neighbor. Love your children. And if there's anything between you and them, forgive. Blame is not the issue. Fault is not the issue. It's who they are. Love them. Ask forgiveness. Even if you did nothing wrong in your sight at all. Love them. I didn't say let them run over you. I said love them. Love them and let them know your love, your appreciation, and respect them. All of them. Love each other. This is not just how we want to be known. This is how we come together in the consciousness of one, to no longer be limited to earth, so that all of us begin to do all the things Jesus did and more, because we love each other. We're no longer critiquing their appearance, or whether they've been tithing, or whether they smell good, what color they are. We love them. Love your people. Love your children. Love your parents. Love your family. Forgive everyone. Harbor no grudge. Emit no grief. Let no one else use your energy to perpetuate their system of control. Let it all go and create your new life with love, peace, and joy. I go now. My name is TheodoreCottingham.com. .com, yeah. I'll end with this. I have written a book called Jesus the Pattern, over 300 pages, over 11 years. It can be of great value if you want it to be. I channeled for years. I've mentioned the Meonics Covenant. You can find the link on my website, the Meonics Covenant. You can click on it and it will take you to my old website that has those 2,400 messages that began to lead me out of Christianity. and begin to form the foundation for a new world that began to be created as my old one was crumbling all around me. And many times I agonized, wept. I didn't become who I am because I just changed my belief system one day. It's a process. Stand up, please, and become the real you. Share these words. I ask you, I mention this increasingly. This is a school, the school of creation, the school of you recreating you. No more to be a lamb taken to the slaughter by your ignorance or by the words or the power that you attribute to the words of someone else. Love you, live you, become the real you, the royal you. Because you have the privilege. The privilege because of who you are. Be love in action now. Love each other. Love these words, outline them. Make a recording, outline them. Create a course, create a school, be a school. Be a school of creation. Associated with me, an alliance with me, my school? I don't know. Well, I do know. Alliances like this are coming about because they're talked about in the first database. There are 7 volumes in Database 1. Database 1 is a synonym. That was my original name for the Meonics Covenant. I began to use Database 1. I didn't know how many databases there would be or what it would grow into, or that I would do this for years as I began to write those initial words on that yellow tablet in McBurney Chapel and First Methodist Church right downtown. But I wasn't wanted there long, and before long, I was invited. I was welcomed at Trinity Episcopal Church, an Episcopal church. They even let me come pray. They welcomed me. They have a ministry. They call it Iron Gate, feeding anybody. More than once I went down and ate with homeless people. What are you willing to find out? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to see inside of you? Are you willing for your world to crumble? If in fact you begin to feel and experience not just feelings and words, a reality that begins to create a new you and a new world so that you begin to see you are not limited to this one. I hope so. And that's my invitation to you. You can write me at Box 34 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, if you like. I'm a common guy. But I found my love. My lover. I found my lover. Who was me that I now see is the all of us I am who love equally. Changing all of the ideas of being finite, being little, being without. Create the Creator, my lovely friend, and have a good day. Theodore Eureka at gmail.com. And you can contact me from my website. I have a contact page. And I love you. Thank you for listening, sharing these words, subscribing to the YouTube channel, subscribing to my email list. But most of all, love you. Love each other. Love each other. Say I love you in your mirror and mean it. Talk to the real you that is not in separation. Express your gratitude for perfect love and realize you're the divine one. No. There's no deity any longer that will stand between you and the real you. Because when you begin to bow before unconditional love teaches you there was never any separation except what we were taught. And because we were taught it, and the fact that we are creators, our mind created the separation, and we felt alone. But I'm asking you to never be alone again. Never lonely, never friendless, never begging for a bed or a bite to eat. I love you. See you later. Good day. To you all, every man, woman, child, of every color, tribe, and tongue. Thank you. Good day.